Welcome to driving home, where we're actually driving.
We're driving.
We're not going home, but we're driving.
We're driving anyway, yeah, so we're halfway there, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we've got Christmas down because we could be driving home for Christmas.
We'll have to do that at Christmas as a Christmas special.
A Christmas special. That we're organised enough to do anything like that.
So this much planning is not going to happen, is it?
No.
Definitely not.
And that's not what people expect, to be fair. Make up as you go along. Serviced us so well so far. Let's keep
on with that, yeah. What we know.
Yes.
And what we don't know.
We're also trying out something quite cool. So this is AI.
It is, yeah.
AI. So I'm using AI for the podcast, which means that the audio will go from this. So this is the actual raw audio that we're getting.
Which is probably terrible.
Yep. Going to put it through the AI podcast, and all of a sudden, bang, we're in a studio.
How does that work?
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is.
In fact, let's put it back to raw car audio again.
Windows down.
I'm going as fast as I legally am allowed. So there's lots of noise, lots of background noise, and let's kick the AI in again. Boom! And again, we're in the studio.
Amazing. One of the benefits of AI.
Yes, it's good for not for creating content, for editing and stuff like that. Yeah. So that means we can do more.
Yeah, we can get out and about. We're not just stuck in the room, are we?
We've got a better chance of hitting the weekly target, which so far, due to
5 viewers.
Yeah. So far, due to other events we'll probably talk about later on.
Yeah, we'll do a podcast for that later.
There's a good reason for once for not doing the weekly podcast up to this stage.
Not just we forgot.
No, a very, very good reason. But again, that's for another podcast.
Yeah.
This one, though, is about cheap vehicles.
Cheap electrical vehicles.
Obviously electric. Yeah. Well, we could spill into a bit of petrol ones and that.
It'd be petrol to compare, I think. That makes quite a good comparison.
Well, you do need to compare it, I think, so people have an idea, because I think there's a perception out there at the moment that petrol cars are a lot cheaper than they are because it's been a few years since you last bought one. I mean, it used to be, what, 500 quid? Certainly £1,000 would get
you something, wouldn't it?
Oh, a full MOT'd something.
Yeah.
Whereas now...
Oh, not a chance.
What, 1,500, £2,000?
I mean, the strange thing is as well is that the second-hand value if you're selling a car isn't particularly great, is it? But to buy one, there seems to be quite a large markup on stuff at the moment.
Yeah, and the cheap-to-run stuff obviously is popular with how things are going at the moment.
Yeah.
But, as I was talking about cheap cars, we're in one.
We're in a very cheap car.
So this is something which will definitely have been on the main channel before this goes out, so you'll already know about it. But we're sat in the £2,000 Renault Zoe, a £2,000 EV.
A £2,000 car nowadays, though.
And there's no wrong with it, is it?
And it's what, just 10 years old?
No, it's 2016.
Wow, so it's 9 years old.
Yeah, not even. Just not quite 9 years old yet.
That's amazing.
But it's electric. It's fully functioning. I've tried everything I can. There's nothing not working. Yeah, the climate control's working.
Yeah, well, it's on now, isn't it, for the air conditioning?
The battery is, as I can tell, the same as it was. I mean, it's only a 22 Zoe, so obviously
it's not going to be great.
It's not going to be any better than
what
you knew.
We're driving in the car. There's £2,000.
£2,000 car, and how much would this cost you? About 25 quid for 1,000 miles of fuel. It's pennies, literal pennies for running costs. The insurance was 450 quid for me and Lorna.
In today's money?
Yeah, in today's insurance, that's not bad at all.
That's not bad. No, that's really good.
There's no rattles.
There's no rattles, no.
I expected some suspension.
It's not a category car. It's not been an accident or anything, has it?
Nope. But it is a battery lease. So she'll start with this specific Zoe, because that's when we're looking at cheap EVs. It's mainly, let's face it, going to be a Zoe or a Leaf.
Yeah.
The proper bottom end.
Oh, what was the little thing that they did?
Oh, there's the Citroen.
That's the one.
C0. Is it Peugeot Ion?
Oh, they're the same clone.
Yeah, the clone ones. And the whatever the other one was. But yeah,
they're not
there's not really cars.
So I had a good search last night, and predominantly 99% of the cars are either a Leaf or a Zoe.
Yeah, and the trouble is the Leaf doesn't have the battery longevity that the Zoes have.
No, the Zoe does seem to be really good in that aspect, doesn't it?
As I understand it, they've got quite a large buffer at the top and bottom of the battery, so that degradation gets eaten away from the buffer.
And I think as well probably the fact that for the majority of these are going to be charged at 7 kilowatts.
You can't rapid charge them, of course. Yes.
So you've not got that sort of strain on the battery.
I do want to try and find a cheap Leaf, but it is extremely difficult. Although I do applaud Nissan for putting the battery health on the dash.
Yeah.
No other manufacturer seems to give you that, do they?
Well, no, they did the law report back in, as you found out, they'll say,
it's good.
It's good. And you go, well, just how good? It's good.
Yeah, it doesn't tell you anything. So the battery lease of this one, I reckon it's about 800 quid for me to buy it out. So is it worth
It's
it?
a knife edge, isn't it, really? I've thought about this. I've been looking at Zoe's just for a little bit, maybe, flirting with the idea of maybe getting a 40. And for me, it's one of those, it is double-edged, because in one hand you're going, oh, I haven't got to pay this each month. On the other hand, you're going, oh God, if it goes wrong,
The battery, I mean, to be honest,
it's not gonna.
no, the battery seemed extremely reliable in Renault's car.
Just as a resell, as it gets further down the line, and someone goes, oh, well, the batteries are the things that fail on electric cars, and you're going, well, actually, no, it's covered under a warranty.
Well, as the one that I bought this off said, she's paid about $3,000 in battery lease
Yeah,
in the 6 years she'd owned it. Something like that.
I
And
can see why Renault certainly did it. It's,
yeah,
we'll sell you a car, and then we'll keep taking money from you every year.
although apparently they originally did it both Nissan and Renault. Nissan used to do it,
Yeah, they did.
but they bought pretty much all theirs out because then they can say, well, it's a warranted product.
Yeah, I guess when they first came out, and there wasn't that sort of, no one knew just how long. People could guess, couldn't they? But majority of people were like, oh, you're going to need a new one after 3 or 5 years.
Yeah, well, that's what everyone thought. Remember the Top Gear video? It was after 5 years you'll need a new battery. I mean, no one knew at that stage, so we're not having to go Top Gear. But ultimately, I think that's why the lease was a thing, because
It's that peace of mind.
yeah, and it made the car artificially cheaper.
Yeah.
But the longer you keep it, the more it costs you. So for this, it's ideal because, like you say, it's coming up to 10 years old and someone else has paid the lease for nearly 10 years. And then you come along and either everything's fine or you make a claim.
Well, I think the thing is, for me, what it boils down to for me is, if I'm going to keep the car for a couple of years, probably not worth buying the lease out.
Well,
I think if I was going to keep it for indefinitely, probably worth buying it out. I think you'll see some of the money back. It's a tricky one, isn't it? I don't think you're going to make a lot of money out of this.
Well, this one's 50 quid a month, so that's 600 quid a year. And the 40 is 60 quid a month, which is obviously £720 a year. So I guess it's a case of, because I've noticed there is a difference between a battery owned battery lease, but for a 40, for example, we've seen a few at £4,000.
£4,000, yeah. And
And
they did look to be in bad nick, didn't
yeah,
they?
this not massive mileage.
That one I sent you did have Michelin tyres on it.
Oh, perfect. Michelin tyres.
Yeah.
In the people who were fake sponsoring the podcast.
They don't even know they're sponsoring it.
In fact, I have some Michelin merch in the boot for you from a recent event.
Very nice.
So yeah, thank you to Michelin for that one.
Thank
But
you very
back on
much.
track. The £4,000-ish, let's say, for a 40 leased Zoe. I reckon it's about 5.5 for a battery owned. But the thing is, although this might cost me 600, 700, 800 quid to buy the lease out of the 22, because it's based on age and mileage and battery size, of course, the 40s would probably be around a couple of grand-ish or more.
The thing is as well, that when you're looking at the 40s, I certainly found it, if you are thinking of getting a battery owned one, there's a very few of them around. So it narrows that sort of focus. So at the moment I can look at maybe 10, 15 cars, 20 cars. If I'm looking at a battery owned one, I'm looking at a couple.
However, as I've found out a couple of times, not with this, but the previous one I got, sometimes people are pricing the Zoe privately and they don't realise there's a difference in leased and owned prices. So they'll look online, look on Auto Trader and go,
That's how much
it's worth about 4.5 grand, I'll put it up for that. But it's owned.
Yeah.
And so there are some gems out there
Yeah, there's some hidden gems
where someone's mispriced it a little bit.
I think the thing we've found, or you've certainly found over the last probably year or so of you buying cars, is you really need to be there just to almost sniper it as soon as it comes
I
out.
missed 3 of these.
Yeah,
Three.
because the bargains go really, really quickly. Like I said, they're too far.
And other EVs as well. Not just cheap ones. That, like you say, I've run one like that. I've got to get that. It went like 3 hours ago. I'm like,
yeah. And it's priced to sell. It's got to
sell. Especially with certain models.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just we haven't got a huge amount of what you call the cheap end EVs out there yet. We are stuck with Zoe and Leaf, but you are starting to get when you get to 6, 7, 8 grand
stuff. Yeah,
getting tempting. You get in the original Ionics.
I saw a couple of Corsas.
Yep, Stellantis stuff.
2020 Corsa. Admittedly, it was a Cat D. So Cat D, if you're not in the UK, just means it's been bumped but not structural.
Yeah, isn't that N and S
N
now?
and S, yeah.
So N is not
Non-structural, S is structural.
Yeah.
So it's had a bump, probably some panels, some going to the back of it, and they've effectively, the insurance company have written it off. And that had 12,000 miles on the clock, and that was between 6 and 7. I was like, wow, it's almost worth a punt at that price.
Well, if you keep it, if once a car gets cheap enough, you don't care if it's a cat.
You could keep that indefinitely.
Yeah. I mean, I'm starting to see now 10, 11 grand Model 3s. Very high miles.
There's
But-
one, yeah. There's one not too far away from where I am. It's from a less than reputable old place. I think it's at 9.
I won't touch it because of who's selling it, but I know what you
It
mean.
just goes to show that
They're getting there.
I mean,
That's Model 3.
there's so many of them around though. It's like if you do come to sell a Model 3 and it's I mean, thankfully I don't want to sell mine. You're going to really struggle. People are just going to go, well, I can get the same one. And it's $2 grand less. Do you want to sell it or not? Or
Yeah. And there's not a massive upsell in terms of price from standard to long range. I've seen.
No, it's
They're like 1,500 quid more, but you're like the biggest thing that people miss, and I think this is what really puts people off the high milers. You get 100,000 mile warranty with a standard vehicle, 120 on the long range. So
the performance, yeah.
And the performance. So anything with a bigger battery.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you get in a car with 102,000 miles on it. I think a lot of people go, right, no warranty on that one, and the price tanks. But you've still got another 20,000 miles here, and the drivetrain and battery warranty.
Yeah.
Which are the main things that people worry about.
And the things with the Model 3 is they're not renowned for failures, are they, within battery and drivetrain? So it's
Other than the creaks, there isn't really any common issue.
the worst thing is the creaks and the rattles.
That you can fix yourself. Yeah. Suspension components and brakes for me are just take that out of it.
Yeah.
It
That happens. Well, no matter what car you get, you're going to get that.
So no, it's a definite high. What I call you getting a lot of car for your money.
Well, do you know, I prefer to have a high mileage EV over a high mileage diesel or petrol.
Well, yeah, because one of them will literally wear and wear and wear. Where the thing with an EV I find a bonus is that the car will instantly tell you when you get into it if there's anything wrong with the battery.
Yeah.
I don't mean degradation. I mean, if there's a faulty cell or board, the car will literally go, no,
Oh no,
I'm not working. Same with the motor, same with, because there's so many diagnostics. And because there's no, has it been serviced right its life?
does it matter?
Yes. In terms of the drivetrain on the batteries, there's nothing to service.
Got to make sure you change the snake oil, haven't you, every 10,000 miles?
Whereas if you're looking at high mile petrol, has it been serviced regular? Has they use proper oil? I mean,
Cam belts, chains.
Cam belts and chains, yeah. Remember the Fabia VRS, the supercharged, turbocharged?
Oh yeah, twin charge, yeah.
The twin charge, that's it. And how many times, if you were looking at one of those, you're like, right, have you used like Shell Premium?
Oh yeah,
petrol?
399
Have
fuel, yeah.
have you done this on your servicing? Even the 306 GTI 6 you had before it, as it had the cam belt serviced after 40,000 miles instead of the Peugeot 60 or whatever it was.
Oh, it needed servicing more or less weekly, didn't it, that?
But all of a sudden, for me, it makes it easier to buy a used.
You haven't got to worry about these things, have you?
The service history is far less important. And the only reason I would pick one on a Kia is because Kia want that for the warranty.
Yeah, I would say, hand on heart, if I was buying a cheap runaround like a Zoe or a Leaf, I would not bother. It's perky, isn't it? I would not bother at all with servicing. There's absolutely no point servicing this.
No. Well, then MOT.
Get it MOT'd, tell them to check, give it a, make sure the brakes are all right, make sure everything's okay. There's no need to do anything else, is there?
Well, no. So the whole, have you got a full service history? Of what? The cabin filter?
Well, essentially what you're going to do is what? Someone, yeah, exactly. You can change the cabin filter yourself and keep the receipt.
Yeah.
I mean, you're paying for somebody to plug a laptop into a car and click diagnose and run.
Which the car does for you.
Yeah.
Because if there was an issue, it would be flagging it up immediately.
Yeah. There's no preventative.
Well, you said that. There is a couple that I've come to realise with ours, which is what we're going to get done up in the next few months.
Oh, yeah, you read
the gear reduction oil, and I know Kias are quite susceptible.
They are,
yeah. In terms of, it works, but is it like a drone or something? And
you have to replace part at that point.
You replace the whole motor or something like that. Yeah, I know it's something big and expensive and usually under warranty, but it's that gear reduction oil, which Tesla and other manufacturers say you never need to change. But there's a lot of people out there saying, I would, because the oil were black and thick or sludgy.
Well, it's like your gearbox oil, isn't it? They'll say, it'll go 100,000 miles before you change your gearbox oil, and you get that done at 50,000 miles. Like, oh my God!
Yeah.
It feels tons better now.
But that's a relatively cheap. Like I said, that's about the only thing preventative-wise I can think of.
Yeah.
For a Tesla, certainly. And I know Nissan Leafs, so people, I think it's the same thing, the reduction. They've done the same thing, and they're like, look at the filtering, just black on plug. So I think there's a couple of things, but we're talking about £100, £200 once in a lifetime, probably, of the car things.
Not a massive, let's say a cam chain or something like that, could be £1,000, got it.
I've got a slight gearbox to engine leak from the TT, a car that does 1,000 miles a year at best. And it's probably a 20 quid seal that needs replacing. It's not a major issue, but I need to get it.
That's a couple of hours of work to get that done?
8 hours, because they have to drop the engine down. So you're looking at £800-900 quid at least. And that's after I spent £1,700 on the cam chain about 2 years ago. And this whole thing of, well, I can keep my petrol car running. You can, but let's not pretend it's free.
It's free, yeah, of course, yeah.
Or do it myself, rubbish. How many people out there do stuff themselves on their car? To that level, anyway. I'm not on about the base.
Oh, the majority is so like it.
But 95% of people are not going to change their oil.
The thing is, you're going to get problems with a motor vehicle, whether it's electric, hybrid, or petrol or diesel. You're going to get problems with it. That's just how it works, isn't it?
Yep.
Things will go wrong. The car has moving parts.
Yep.
It has parts that wear out. You will have to, at some point, replace them.
But these EVs have significantly less
moving parts, less complex.
It's the paranoia of the battery, isn't it? And this, I guess, is the downside of an EV, because you could have 10, 12, 15 years of it costing you nothing,
and then all of a sudden
a big potential bill. So it's almost a case of people, it's like hot potato.
Yeah.
Pass the parcel.
Yeah.
And whoever it stops on has to get the bill. Or scrap the car.
I guess the thing with this is if it came back and the battery, say for instance, one day you got in it and the battery was 20 miles worth of range in it.
Yeah.
At that point you go, well, I can either get somebody to see if it, to replace for faulty cells in it rather than the whole unit.
I'll get a refurb.
Yeah. Or do I just go, well, I've only got £2,000 in it. I've had it for a couple of years. Of motoring for £2,000. You see more depreciation in newer cars.
A few months. Oh, well, that's the thing. How many people? I know someone that I think it was a parents of one of Alice's friends, and they had an Audi A4. I'd probably say it was about 9 year old.
Yeah.
I don't know about the mileage, at least 80, 90. And there was a known but significant DSG fault.
Yeah.
And it was going to cost them £2,500 to fix it. I think that's just at local rates, not dealers at all.
What dealers it'd be for?
And they got rid of the car. I think they got like 1,500 quid for it.
Really?
The car was only worth about 4 or 5.
But you okay?
So they used it as an excuse. So
yeah,
people do this all the time. Oh, it's not worth
fixing it.
Yeah, I'll get rid of it. And let's face it, the only reason batteries are still mega expensive, relatively speaking, because there's none around to fix, replace, or refurb.
Once there's more on the market. Yeah.
It's all economies of scale to a point, isn't it? When you've got tons and tons of spare parts, they're going to be really cheap.
Yeah.
When there's 3,
well, that's it.
Paying a lot for it.
I think the thing is we see more and more and more electric vehicles, other than just the Leafs and the Zoes come through the second-hand market and the price come down. We're going to see these repair centres out. We're going to see swap-out services.
Just time.
And it's going to be, reasonable. I'm not going to say it's going to be cheap.
It's going to take time, definitely, to get to that level. But going back to the cars now, in terms of for sale, for me, the 10 to 15 grand is the utter bargain price point, because you're looking at long range performance Model 3s, I-Paces. I'm not on about high mileage stuff here. Ioniq 5, there's those Neros as well, Kia Souls.
Yeah, Souls, yeah.
And basically,
the whole Stellantis group.
Pretty much any car.
Yeah.
Apart from the real expensive stuff. I mean, you're looking at an Ioniq 5 with a large battery, with 70,000 miles on it for like 14 grand.
And then that is just insane, isn't it?
That's a 2021, I think. I will have a 2-year-old
looking car as well.
And again, Kia's 7-year warranty. And you're looking at 12 to 13 grand for a 50,000 mile Nero or Soul.
Yeah.
With still another 3 years warranty left on it. That was in bargains, isn't it? Yeah, 2 or 3 years on it. And you're like, well, if I get 3 years from a 4-year-old car of warranty remaining on the whole car, not just the batteries, that's as good as buying a brand new Volkswagen.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Volvo. Yeah. We come with 3 years.
3 years warranty, yeah.
And it's 12, 13 grand for a 250 mile range EV.
I mean, that's
That's why we'd be going for if we didn't have what we already have. Genuinely, now, if I thought, right, I need a reliable electric family car, then oh, okay, here we go. Oh, yeah, some passing as a Nero. And there's lots of them, so that's good as well. Isn't it?
Yeah, I think the thing is, when you're looking around, if there are lots of them, it gives you more options, of course, if looking for a higher quality one. But also it keeps the price low, doesn't it? People are bidding against each other in selling a car.
Yeah. No, there's so many out there. But I mean, I've been looking at cheap I-Paces. I've been looking at
the I-Pace is an odd one, isn't it?
I want to get one because I think
it's a Jag.
Interesting content.
Yeah,
and there's so many horror stories of the reliability. That's what makes the content interesting.
I spoke to a guy who's in an Aldi car park. He's parked next to me, and I was putting my shopping in, and he just pulled up, and I went, says, "Do you mind if I ever chat to you about the car?" And his eyes lit up. People love talking about the cars, early. I says, "I've got a friend who's thinking about getting one." I says, "We've just heard that they're massively unreliable." Because I've had this from you. It was a company car. He'd put 50,000 miles on it in 3 years. It was coming up to the end of the lease. He wanted to keep it past his lease. He said, "I'm looking at the options because I really want to keep this. I really like it." And he said he did have a problem with the range.
I know they've got software issues.
Yeah, so he had a problem when he first got it within the first year, and that the range and performance was a lot less on the battery than it should be. So he said within the 50,000 miles, that's the only thing that's gone wrong with it. It says they took it away, they fixed it, it came back.
Yeah.
And I think, well, of all the cars I've ever owned, the new ones that I've owned, there's always something gone wrong with it in the first year. Always something.
Especially with software these days, that's so important with cars, not just EVs. And I think the EV side of things, especially because Jaguar were quite early to the EV party.
They really, weren't they? Really?
There
wasn't much around. I mean, they were that of the Tesla, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, 90 kilowatt battery, 400 brake horsepower for most of them, and if you get spec'd up on the beautiful inside, and they're nice to drive. But you're looking at, I reckon, for a 60, 70, 80,000 miler, that's 2021, you're looking at about 14 grand. And you've still got the 8-year battery warranty, remember?
Yeah.
And from what I've heard from a few people, that if there's a fault with the battery, quite often they'll just buy the car off you, will Jaguar.
Really?
Yeah, because they can't be bothered fixing it, or they don't want it, or they can't, or whatever.
I guess for them it's probably the better of two options, isn't it? It's cheaper for them just to buy you out rather than put the time into having it replaced.
Yeah. So I think that's another one of those where you're getting a lot of car for your money.
I think, it's
90 kilowatt battery
as well. It's high. It's
especially it's a come up
car.
So that's a good one.
I mean, the thing is as well is that I can't imagine it being too long until these have, the Jaguar I-Pace, the Model 3 Teslas, are at a seriously low price. We've already seen them below 10.
Yep, I've seen a few Model 3 standards below 10 now.
It can't be long until we drop it. And there's so many being used as taxis or company cars. You think there's a lot out there with, 150, 200,000 miles on the clock.
Well, that tells you, if the taxis are using them,
then they must be all right.
They're not going to be unreliable, are they?
There are a lot of Nero taxis.
Oh, tons of them. That's the only thing you have to look out when you're looking on the used market.
Yeah.
There's going to say PCO registered.
Yeah.
They've almost, Neros, I think, have replaced the Prius.
Yeah,
the taxi of choice for a lot of people out there if they want to go electric anyway.
Do you know what? I can see why.
And the Model 3s too.
Yeah. I did see a Model 3 taxi, and he must have been sick of people trying to get in his car, and he'd stuck some aftermarket door handles on it. And I thought, why not?
Yeah, because everyone would be like, how do I get in? How do I get in?
Everyone always goes, we'll look at the Tesla and try and get in it, and you tell them how to do it. That's brilliant. You're going, it's not, is it? Because they've failed to make a handle. If you don't know how the handle works, that surely would have been the...
Yeah.
Jeff, no one knows how to get in it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not obvious, mate. You need to make it so they know it's a handle. You just push this bit here.
Yeah.
But what if it freezes? We're not going to sell it anywhere cold enough for it to freeze.
No. It's like one of those annoying places where you're going to a hotel or something, and there's a double door.
Yeah.
With a handle. It says push.
Yeah.
But naturally, you pull the handle, don't you?
It does there like an idiot because it's locked.
That's basically the Model 3.
Yeah.
Well, the Teslas.
I mean, the thing is, it's the only car I've come back to after doing some shopping in winter and not being able to get in my car.
I've had to brake it a couple of times.
Bang, bang. It just seems a bit odd, doesn't it?
It's one of those things that you get used to, I think. But as a taxi, it would drive me up the wall.
And also, I think people pressing the emergency.
Pulling that, yeah.
It doesn't drop the window, does it?
Not properly. So yeah, that for me, if taxis are buying Neros and Model 3s,
It goes to show, doesn't it? They can't be that expensive to run in terms of maintenance.
and no, absolutely not. I
Otherwise, they
think
will buy them.
the potential fuel savings if they charge at home as well would be extreme.
Oh yeah.
And if you got bloody free supercharging on an old Model S, and you near supercharging, it's free fuel. That's why you see a ton of those going for a premium, I think, because as a taxi driver, in Leeds, for example, when I dropped the Tesla off and got an Uber into Leeds.
Yeah.
I couldn't be bothered walking. And the superchargers are at the Tesla dealership out there, which is right next to the centre pretty much of Leeds. So if you got free supercharging for a taxi, you just do that, and you carry on, and yeah, it's a no-brainer. And that for me again makes it easier to buy a used EV. Yeah, well, yes. There's not much to go wrong. You don't really care as much about service history, and ultimately, the car will tell you if there is anything wrong.
The thing is, as well, going back to service history, if you buy an old second-hand car, and you look through the service history, majority of that it could be fake. You're never going to ring the garages up, are you? So even if you get one that says it's got a full service history, has it really?
You can do your checks, I guess, but it's more work, isn't it?
It's a small independence and stuff. Usually after 3 years, no one's using main dealers. Yeah, and you're going to ring up a small independent dealership and make sure they've got, they've kept their records of it. Unless if it's electric, you go, well, even if it wasn't real, there's nothing to really replace.
No.
General wear and tear stuff, brakes, pads, suspension, that's going to get done anyway.
And it's not as available to change relatively, again, compared to stuff. So this is where I often think, when we went to look at this car, the Zoe, it was just me and Alice.
Yeah.
And the only thing I was really bothered about...
Alice.
Oh yeah, she knows the stuff.
Hold you back from just buying it out there. I'll buy it, it's not sat in here now.
I looked around it for anything really obvious in terms of cosmetics.
Did you open the bonnet and go, yep?
I did check the levels.
Yeah.
But the main issue that I wanted to make sure was working was the climate control.
It's always quite a few.
It could be a thing on a Zoe, couldn't it?
Yeah.
So that's about the only thing I was really thinking, I'll check that, make sure it works. And then the rest of it is just cosmetic checking.
Yeah.
Does the sat-nav work? Does the basic work? And when you're driving it around, are there any knocks, rattles and rolls?
Yeah, I mean, suspension can be quite a thing with these, can't it? In terms of springs and dampers.
But it's
I think the best part, it feels finest, doesn't it?
But everyone can check that, have they? Yeah. You don't need to... How many people pay for a car to be checked by the RAC or the AA or just take a friendly mechanic with them?
Just have a look.
You don't need that with EV stuff for the most part.
Well, no, the engine you're not going to weigh, but the stuff you can see yourself, like the coils and stuff, the suspension coils and stuff. Is that John?
Boss, I think he might do.
There we go. So for people that are listening to this, we've just passed
someone we knew. And we're going, hello, as opposed to actually concentrating on the podcast. But that's the thing. For me, it's easier to buy a used EV because of that lack of thing. You're not buying a Tesla that's got a fault without the car telling you. And that's the beauty of it. You can fudge some issues with cars, can't you? Like change the oil or something in the engine stuff.
If wrecking
to mask a problem that will ultimately come back.
You're not going to be able to do that with this.
There's nothing you can do that I can think of with an EV.
Well, technically, you can get into the diagnostic section of it, can't you?
Yeah. But can you think of any common EV issue? That's EV specific issue.
Well, the batteries last 3 years, don't they?
Yeah. But that you could mask. You're like when you're selling it,
it doesn't charge. It doesn't charge.
Yeah. And that's another thing I would check before I bought any car. Make sure
you plug it in on their drive and just say, "Can you rent it in 10 minutes?"
Or just say, "Can you make sure it's fully charged by the time we get there?"
Yeah,
that in itself is telling you that the charge
must work.
Otherwise, there's no way for them to get it on 100%.
Yeah.
So other than that, unless it's an expensive one, I think it's an easy option. We're getting at $2,000.
$2,000 for it. I mean, if you think what else you can get for $2,000, I just bought a telly and a soundbar, and that nearly cost the best part
of a car.
Yeah. People will wear a watch that costs considerably more than this car.
Well, yeah.
You can't get a holiday for $2,000. Well, you could if you shopped around, but not a massive lot of variety.
Not abroad, really. No.
It's just bizarre, isn't it?
If anybody's wondering what's going on watching on the Driving Home YouTube channel, I'm just coming on an old street that I used to live on that I grew up on. I'm just wondering what they've done to the house.
Yeah, needs a bit of work done on that.
I planted most of those bushes that are still there, I should point out.
And that little cover over the front door wants replaced.
Yeah,
It's getting pretty weathered that.
So this is the professionalism you get from our podcast. Ooh, little smart.
I know, I saw that on the way in.
Uh,
Mark Roads to there.
So yeah, in terms of cheap cars, for me, we are. I'm not going to say we're there because we are getting some, but
We've got two.
There's only one or two.
If you step up to 5 and 6, you've got a spattering more. Some MGs, ZSs I saw between 5 and 6, maybe 6 and 7.
Yeah, you're getting the cheap MGs, and they get a 7-year warranty with them. Yeah, up to 80,000 miles. So again, I know they're not known for their great, quick, speedy repairs, even at the dealers, but
There's an option.
it's there. You will still eventually get it fixed. So no, I'm at a point now where I'm thinking, yes, we're finally being able to buy the sheds.
Oh
which
yeah.
For me is been the missing content of the channel for ages, because there's no point in
Well, it's affordable driving.
yeah, if you're buying a 10-15 grand car, it's interesting, but it's not that relatable.
The thing with this is that, yeah, exactly, isn't it? More people can afford to buy one of these than they can afford to buy a 10, 15 grand car. And as a second vehicle, I can't think of anything better. I mean, fair enough, you can, what else could you get for this money that is not non-EV?
Well,
An old Fabia, an old Corsa maybe.
how much is a Clio? Because this is a Clio, isn't it? I wonder what does £2,000 get you in Clio world?
Probably nothing as new as this.
It's, like a 56 reg with 80,000 miles on it. It's probably comparable, if not more expensive, with petrol.
Oh yeah.
Small super minis tend to do quite well, don't they, on petrol fleets?
Especially, well, the thing is at the moment is everybody wants at the moment a cheap runaround. And most people are still going petrol.
Because they don't want to set the risk on this. All the range just simply isn't good off it.
Which means that there's less of them around and they're being snapped up quicker.
And I think there's that, isn't it? The range is often over-egged. So this is a second car for, let's face it, anyone buying it realistically, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because of the 60, 70, 80 miles that it's going to do all year round. So therefore, it's purely a second car, and ultimately it's one of those where you think, it's going to the shops and back. It might go to work and back.
Give it some beans out of it.
Oh, mini, come on, I'm taking it out of eco. Ready?
Go.
Oh, I am in eco mode, sorry.
That's not... Stop part.
I didn't take it out of eco mode. There we go. 30
For
miles.
those of you that are listening to this, we're just
We're doing the car.
exercising it.
We're exercising the car.
That's not bad, is it?
It's all right.
And it's not really lost any of the power over the years like a petrol car will have done.
Well, that's the beauty of it. An electric motor either works or it doesn't.
Yeah.
You're going to get the performance out of it that it had when it would give you.
Yeah.
So again, something else you don't have to worry about. How many times do you see, whether it's on Top Gear or YouTube, someone testing the car, see how many horses have left?
Generally lost quite a lot, isn't it?
So they get less and less efficient over time, whereas these will just either work or they don't. So there's pros and cons to both sides, aren't there?
Oh yeah.
Keep a petrol car running for longer and it'll just won't run as well. Whereas an EV will give you everything it had when new,
Just less rich.
but then will just suddenly have a fault and stop. In terms of the motors, anyway.
Yeah.
So no, I'm kind of
Lover's Point.
just pulling up to a known place for flashing headlights here in the car. But ultimately, no, I'm looking at like the 2 to 10 grand and thinking there's now more
There's
options.
so much, isn't it? I mean,
And the family options as well. That's the beauty of it.
2 grand gets you this.
Yeah.
4 grand gets you a Zoe 40.
So double the range essentially, nearly. And that is then for me at the very usable stage.
Yeah. That's a weekly, isn't it, that one?
Hmm.
You get away with charge. It's a second car, charging that once a week, and it being able to do the dropping the kids off at school,
And that's
the short commute to work and back and that sort of stuff.
According to government statistics, 99% of journeys are under 100 miles.
Yeah.
So if you then said, all right, then let's just concentrate on the second car average mileage.
Yeah. Well,
It's going to be, 5-10 miles a day, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just going to the shops and back and commuting to school, the run, maybe work and back.
yeah.
So even a 70-mile range,
It's going to be,
if you're charging it up,
yeah.
and why can you not manage with that
I
for
wonder
the majority of people?
what the plug-in, plug-in hybrids, what do hybrids start at? I mean, could you get a high mileage Prius for
Oh,
for that sort of price.
I've got my
I mean,
phone here.
I can't imagine you would do, because you're mixing two technologies there together, which we would think would be more expensive, wouldn't you?
Well, they are uber reliable, aren't they? Let's
Super. I like that. Amazing.
So let's have a look at the Clio, and I'll put a maximum price of $3,000 to see what we get.
Bear in mind the Clio's been out for a very long time as well, so probably get a lot of older cars there.
Right, the cheapest, I'll get rid of the category stuff for a second. Exclude, well, it's 55 category Clios. Right.
She shows the people that drive them, the young ones.
Right, so the cheapest Clio is 550 quid. It's done 126,000 miles, 57 reg. But there's no mention of your MOTs on that one.
There's a lot older vehicles out there.
Let's reduce the mileage so we're getting close to this.
80,000 miles.
Yeah, so let's put it up to 90.
And what, no more than 10 years old?
Well, let's see what the mileage gives us, I guess. Wow, look at that. 550 quid, 1.2 Clio Rush, 2005.
Yeah, so it's another 10 years off this. Let's change the year.
It's changed the year, don't it?
Yeah, let's make it so it's up to 10 years old. Yeah, so the year comparable run.
2006. Oh, hello, sorry. 2016 is this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just talk to the people whilst that.
So we'll have a see. Yeah,
There's one. 2016 Clio.
Wow, with the same sort of mileage.
Let me clear the mileage. Just to
see if we get any high milers.
Right. So there's two Renault
I like
Clios.
how prepared.
Yep. So 2016 Renault Clio, 124,000 miles on it. Wow. £2,800, which is the price of this if you added the battery. There's one with 90,000 miles on it, and that's 2,900, give or take. So that's the comparison of this. So this is slightly cheaper if you include the battery than a petrol equivalent of the same.
The only reason to get that is charging is either not convenient for you or
the range. One lady owner from new full service history. Looks in good condition. So
why did they put lady owner?
It
never makes me.
With all due respect to my wife, she, apart from checking the tyres, which I've finally got her to do, there's nothing she checks on the cars.
Oh.
And I'm talking petrol ones before that.
Yeah. It just seems
tyre treads.
Put someone's like owned by a policeman. Okay. Doctor owned.
Yeah.
Like he's got the stethoscope on the engine every night.
I mean, for me, we used to get this a lot, didn't we, when we were younger? When we sold one of ours. Remember someone came up by your Polo, I've been told to stay away from someone that's been owned by a youngish person.
Yeah.
It's probably been ragged. No, that will be their pride and joy.
Check the oil every day.
They will look it after that because it's the most expensive thing they own by a country mile. They live at home and it's their first car or second car. It will be looked after. Yes, it might get repped, but that's not really usually an issue.
No, warmed up and...
So in terms of that then, the ute. Let's imagine that our kids now have got a driving license.
I mean, something like this would be ideal, wouldn't it?
Well, as a parent, I'm like, the fact they can't go any further than realistically 30 miles away without having to charge to come back is appealing to me. And the fact that there is nothing for them to check, although I do find out, I did look forward to teaching them the basics of checking the oil. But the fact that it's easy to look after and drive. Oh. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm going to definitely make sure that Alice does her manual driving.
Oh, it needs to be done, doesn't it? It needs to be done.
Not just because they're going to be around for years, but because it teaches you what the car's doing for me.
It's control. It's more control.
But an EV would be far easier as a first vehicle, wouldn't it?
But the thing is driving an EV is, I mean, if you've driven petrol and diesel all your life, even if it's an automatic, an EV is just so easy. And for most driving, like stuck in traffic and that sort of stuff, perfect.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I know you get this a lot, don't you? Oh, I'm going to miss the sound of a decent petrol engine.
I miss the gears.
I love gears.
Yeah, I miss gears.
But you don't when you're going to work.
No, not when you're going to. No, when you're stuck in traffic.
90% of what you're driving. Yeah.
No.
And that's the thing that I laugh. It's like, yes, on a fun drive, I would absolutely agree with you. But 95% of my driving isn't fun.
No. The thing is, what you miss. Another really good thing I like about the EV is that, if you're going up a hill and it's a 30-mile-an-hour zone, and sometimes it's like you can't find the gear for it. Yeah,
when you get a low-powered car,
you have to go either a little bit slower, or I wouldn't advise this. Maybe you have to go a little bit quicker just to get the right sort of power to get the hill. With an EV, you've got none of that. You want to go 30 miles an hour, you just go 30 miles an hour. It's not enough.
The noise.
Yeah, the noise. Yeah.
As in the noise of, you know, someone coming home, the noise of a car going up.
Yeah.
It is better in that respect, but ultimately, our kids won't miss a nice petrol engine gears, all that sort of stuff.
No.
Probably will, because they've never known it.
They'll be like, what have you heard the passenger safety noise this one makes?
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
No, I'm looking forward to when she can get to her own car. I don't know whether I want to buy her a petrol shed just because it's a fun ownership experience of it's gone wrong again, you know, or whether or not just go straight something like this.
I've always fancied an MX-5.
Yeah. No, I mean, a Zoe would probably be ideal for the vast majority, and apart from the range side of it. If
I think a 40.
Would by then they're going to, in a couple of years when Alice is old enough to start a license, a 40s will be at £2,000.
Yeah, I'd have thought so. And these will just be obsolete at that point, probably.
Saying that though, I wonder if there's
how long the batteries go for.
Is it going to get to the point where Renault are going to go, let's just give you the battery for free? Because it must get to the point where the battery in any EV is going to get to an age when it needs replacing, and they won't want to.
Well, that's going to be
going,
an interesting one, isn't it? Yeah, no, Nissan did exactly the same thing, didn't they?
Any car that went through the dealers got bought. I mean, I haven't seen a single battery lease Leaf for years.
Yeah. I think the thing is that they're going to get to a point, aren't they? Do you know what there is? It's a seesaw, isn't it? And at the moment, it's weighted on one end. It's going to be a tipping point where they're going to go, oh, actually, no, we don't want all these now.
I wonder if they can force you. Can they say, look, we're giving you this, and you can't say
say no. It'd be interesting to,
because all right, you own this.
It must be in the it must be small.
The thought about if you owned this car, and it was 15 years old,
and the battery
lease
pointless,
and it was work here, and they went, right, we're giving you the battery lease. Would you say yes or no?
Do you know what? I bet it'll be pretty much like the I-Pace or Jaguar. I bet there'll be a clause in there where they can pay you out for the car, and they'll pay you out for the car at market value.
Or just give, they would have thought of
so this. Rather than us replace your battery, because it's pointless for us to do that, your car's worth 1,200 quid. There you go, there's 1,200 quid, which is 2 years worth.
We'll buy the car off you.
2 years worth of their battery lease. At the end of the day, if they've seen 15 years out of you, they're laughing, aren't they?
So you have this car, you pay $2,000 for it, let's say £600 to buy the battery.
Yep.
You're going to buy it out. So you've verified that the range is fine right now.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
If I bought this car, realistically, how long would I have it? A couple of years, maybe? Maybe on a 40. Maybe on the 40 I would.
I mean, you're looking at what do you say, 600 quid a year?
But I think it's just having that thing of, if something does go wrong, it's insurance, isn't it, for me? It's not a battery lease, it's battery insurance.
But do you put it to one side and think, well, that's 1,200 quid over 2 years, and now we only pay $2,000 for the car?
But I think if you sell the car on, and it's a battery lease, the majority, me and you looking for a car are going to go, battery owned. Majority of people are going to go, well, actually, it's not covered and it's 10 years old, and what's going to happen next? It's that peace of mind, I think, for a lot of
people. Does battery lease, so let's assume we're a layman now, someone who's not au fait with EVs at least. Do they see a battery lease as a bad or a good thing? Most people go, oh, I got the battery lease.
I think most people would.
60 quid a month.
I think the majority of people probably think it's a good thing, because we see leasing something maybe as do you mean you're leasing it? You can't afford it if you're leasing it, or I don't know. There's a bit of a stigma, maybe.
It's an extra cost.
Yeah, but I think maybe for a lot of people who are looking at getting an EV, the fact that they don't own the battery is brilliant. It's like credit cards. I buy most of my stuff on a credit card and pay it off. Get paid, pay the credit card off. Because if anything goes wrong with anything I bought on that,
you got protection.
Yeah. And it's not, that's how in my mind a credit card works. If I buy something and it's not as described, if I go to a credit card company, just go.
I guess the easy way of putting it is, let's imagine you buy 40 kilowatt Zoe.
Yeah.
And then Renault come to you and go, for 700 quid a year.
Yeah.
There's an aftermarket warranty on that battery. Would you pay? It's that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Would you pay 700 quid a year to guarantee that battery for a year? I mean, you've got the choice in that stage, in that scenario. But for me, that's what the lease is. It's essentially just a warranty.
A warranty on the battery, yeah.
And
so in the event of it failing, which is very, 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 very slim, they will, I guess, either fix it or give you market value. There'll be something in the small print, no doubt.
But it's going. Let's face it, it's something that will eventually disappear because there's only
No,
Zoe
well,
that does it now. There's only Nissan and Renault that ever did it, really, and Nissan bought all theirs out. So
I think for Renault, it must have been at when these first came out. It's to bring, like you said earlier, it's to bring the price down of the vehicle at sale, because
and I bet they've done quite well out of it, like you say, because if
Yeah.
that car's 10 years old and they're paying even the minimum on
well,
this,
look how many on the road.
50 quid a year, 50 quid a month,
Yeah,
for 10
You
years.
look at 600. You
That's
go
£6,000.
past every Zoe and you think, what? That's 600 quid. If that's 600 quid, that's 600 quid.
Yeah.
Renault are rubbing their hands together. Maybe that's why I think with Renault, I think they're still doing it because they know you can't rapid charge one. Most people are plugging them in at home at 7 kilowatts. The batteries are going to last a lot longer, and the buffers at either end. Nissan with theirs just went, oh, crap, everyone's got them on a Chadamo.
They didn't have half the protection. There's no thermal management, whereas at least this has fan cooling passive.
Yeah, so you can't charge it
And
every
rapid charging, yeah. I remember a couple of times in the Leaf, because it has a battery temperature on the left side of it. Battery's getting hot, because I've rapid charged it like 3 or 4 times to get to a long journey.
I always saw on your Leaf on long journeys sometimes we were in Goodwood that time, and the battery heat
Yeah.
up at the top.
It was summer as well.
Yeah. It's like, oh God, it's like 1 or 2 off from the top.
And
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
look at this. This is the only one left because I haven't looked for a while. £14,000, just under, for a long range 2020 Model 3 with 74,000 miles on it.
That's my car. Yeah. That's ridiculous.
14 grand. And that's not a really high miler out. You've still got another 45,000 miles on the battery and drivetrain warranty.
Yeah.
Until
through
2028.
So you've still got a 3-year warranty on that, which is what you get with most new vehicles.
And that's the long range.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, wow. The performances, the cheap electric. Let's see what the cheapest full electric EV is before we end. Non-catted, 1,500 quid. A Nissan Leaf, 2013, so that's one where there was only one trim level at that stage. 86,000 miles. It's done. Now let's see if they've put a picture of the battery health. Oh, they have. How many bars do you reckon it's got left? So there's 12.
I reckon it's got.
So 12 bars means it's between 85% and 100%.
Yeah.
And then for every bar after that, I think it's 7.5%.
Do you know what?
Loss.
I'm going to be really pessimistic. I'm going to say it's 6.
6.
Yeah.
6 bars. So it's
How?
so that's 85%, and then another what did I say? 6, another 5. So yeah, the battery's absolutely knackered on that one.
Yep.
But that's why it's 1,495 quid, yes.
I mean, still though, it's a car. It needs a lot of work doing to it.
Well, yeah, it'll be just that, and you can refurb the
Batteries.
Leaf ones. But that's right on the dash. It's in your face.
Yeah.
I think that's what puts people off when you buy something else. You don't know.
Yeah, it is the unknown, isn't it? Definitely.
So there are 12 ones out there. I mean, here we go, £2,175 for a battery-owned 22 Zoe.
Wow.
With 80,000. It's this car.
Yeah.
But it's a 2013.
Yes.
It's a 2016 nearly. And it's the same price, but that is battery-owned. So we're getting there, aren't we?
We are. I think we are.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that's for listed prices. There's haggle room, no doubt, on there.
True. Let's put this then. WLTP over 200 mile range. What do you think the cheapest?
Well, I'm going to say 4. It's going to be a Zoe.
It is a Zoe. It's done 111,000 miles.
Okay.
Battery lease, 2017. And it's got a warning light. But everything works.
Okay. It's French.
3.5 grand.
Wow.
For 40 Zoe. And then, like I say, wow, 40 signature. No, that's the top spec.
Yeah.
For 4 grand.
Well, when I sent you
2018, we nearly 70,000 miles on it. So.
Yeah. Amazing. It's crazy, isn't it?
I mean, when you think just a few years ago what they were going for.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, the fact that we're sort of around the 4 grand mark for a car, and it's not going to do 200 miles, is it? Except for being in downhill.
But it probably would. Somebody would. They're surprisingly efficient.
150 miles easily.
Easy.
It's going to do 150 miles and it's £4,000.
And
that replaces your car. No, there's nobody doing that sort of distance in a day.
absolutely,
The majority of people.
as a second car, it covers probably any base I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, I could live with that.
As your main car.
Easily. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing I used to do, still do, but I've done 25,000 miles a year in the original Leaf, the 30 Leaf, for 5 years.
You can do the long, which, for instance, if I did go to Cornwall in the summer, they'd just be stopping a lot.
But that's a one journey a year.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't let that dictate the car you buy, I don't think, can you? The one a year.
No, the swings and roundabouts, and they're not quite there yet for everybody. But the prices are, tempting and more content worthy, should we say? So we're at we're trying to time these podcasts.
We're
We're
at
at 51 minutes.
I think it's time to
I think it's time to wrap up.
board you on the fire.
So if you're watching this, thank you. If you're listening to this, thank you again.
Yeah.
And I think I saw on Spotify, because you can listen to this on all the usual podcasting places if you're not, that you can put comments.
You can put comments on Spotify. I think, is Spotify even doing the video as well now?
Are they?
Yeah, I think
to look into.
Spotify getting into putting the video on.
So yeah, whether you're watching, if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, you can put a comment in.
Yeah.
Tell us if you got any cheap EVs or like that.
Would you buy a cheap EV?
Yeah, if you're listening to this on a podcasting place, then go to the Driving Home OHM YouTube channel. You can put a comment in on this video. You don't need to watch it, but there's no way of commenting on more podcasting places that you can't just send them.
Interesting to know where people would go for, say, Leaf 40 at £4,000, or would you get a petrol diesel car for the same money?
Both perfectly viable options.
Yeah, I just wonder what would people do? I mean, it might be that your circumstances dictate that you can't charge at home. Therefore, I'd probably get
a petrol diesel. Yeah, definitely.
But if you can charge at home, is this something that would, work for you?
And as a second car, you've always got the primary for the long journeys. So therefore, the short range is almost irrelevant. But yeah, what do you worry about, I guess, is the main thing. Let's face it, it's got to be the battery. There's nothing else.
And if the battery's covered under a lease/warranty, then that's that problem ticked.
Exactly. How many cars come with an 8-year warranty, 100,000 miles on the main drivetrain?
Yeah.
Petrol me. They just don't do that. Right. So thanks for watching, guys.
Are you listening? Thanks for watching.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I keep on thinking I'm in YouTube mode still. Thanks for listening. Hopefully this has worked whilst we were driving around.
It just makes it a little bit
using
AI. Could you make it sound like this?
In a world. No, it should hopefully mean it's easier for us to do these things.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, thanks for listening.
Thanks so much.
The final words are from Harry.
Oh, rubber dubber dub dub.